my name's Miyagi, and I'm really excited to be developing this Facebook social learning group course called Sweet Relief, Living in Alignment for Peace. I would like to share what has helped me. I wish that I had known some of this information whenever I was younger, so I could have figured things out sooner and have made better choices that were more aligned with the truth of me, with what I wanted. And I think that would have helped me so much in getting clarity and figuring out what's right for me to do. So I would like to share with you what has helped me and has brought more alignment and purpose and meaning and peace, especially peace, which brings relief into my life. It took me many years to figure all of this out though, so I am so thankful for all of the information that is available for us now. Whenever I was younger, there wasn't as much information readily available. In fact, I did try to pursue some self-help whenever I was maybe in my 20s, early 20s, and then when I guess I wasn't ready for it because it didn't really make sense to me. I thought it was silly. I wasn't at that level. I couldn't grasp it. I didn't get it. I thought it was just trite and just meaningless. It didn't have any meaning for me. So I want to talk about ways to get back to yourself, to your true self. The thing is, we are raised, maybe not in the healthiest way. Our parents, maybe grew up in a dysfunctional environment, an unhealthy environment, and then that is just passed on from generation to generation. And when you're a child, you just believe whatever your parents tell you and what society tells you, and you try to conform and obey and to get along, to stay out of trouble. And whatever your parents tell you and your peers tell you, you internalize and you believe whatever you're shown. Well, actually, lots of that is maybe not the best, not the healthiest, and it can cause you to feel really bad about yourself and to learn some detrimental things. And lots of times we're taught poor boundaries, unhealthy boundaries, where we're codependent and we're sacrificing ourselves. We're become kind of people pleaser, doormat type people, where we're always trying to appease everybody just because we want to belong, we want to be cared for, we want to be loved and get along in the world, and we depend on our family and our social environment. So we try to do whatever we can to fit in and to please everybody and to do what society says, even though it may be harmful towards us. And so what I found, that it took me many, many years of trying to figure it out, of going through painful things and just having drama keep happening and not being able to figure it out, because in some situations you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's unpredictable. If you're with people who aren't the healthiest and maybe have some personality issues where they're maybe have tendencies towards narcissism or borderline personality and dysfunction, abuse, then it gets very confusing. And if you still remain in that same environment and keep going back to that same environment, then the same things keep happening. So finally what I had to do, I decided I was tired of it. I was tired of being miserable, of being unhappy, and always just not having everything work out. My relationships wouldn't work out, and I just couldn't figure it out because I'd try everything I could think of. Well, it wasn't me. I finally figured that out once I got some space. And so what I'd like to share with you is ways to get clarity and to figure it out. And the first thing you have to do is to get back in touch with yourself and get to know yourself, know your truth, so you can do what's right for you, and so you can maintain healthy boundaries, know where your being begins and ends, like, and what is your responsibility and what is someone else's responsibility. And then that way you can have clarity and you can set boundaries that protect you and that are supportive of you and that are loving of you, as well as everybody else too. So the best thing I found to get in touch with myself was to begin spending time alone in solitude and quiet, and to journal. And that helped me the most, was to begin journaling. And a book that really helped me was The Artist's Way. I mean, it's not just for artists, it helps you figure out who you are, what you like. It asks you all kinds of questions, like, what were your favorite things when you were growing up? You know, notice your environment, what do you like? And then you start to notice what is you, what you truly like, and then you get back in touch with yourself by journaling, and you get in touch with your real feelings, your emotions. Lots of times we're trained to not show any negative emotions, to not stand up for ourselves. We're supposed to obey and do whatever our parents say, and lots of times they overstep their boundaries, and we're taught that it's not valid for us to do what we want, to have feelings and to have rights as a person. And especially if they're abusive, then you really learn to sabotage yourself, and that continues until you break free of it and you see healthier ways. And you can't begin to find out healthier ways until you do create some distance and disentangle yourself from the dysfunctional environment. So that's what I had to do. I had to learn a lot about manipulative behaviors and boundaries and defense mechanisms, the psychology of everything, because people who have poor boundaries and who have narcissistic tendencies tend to treat you as an extension of themselves and not as an equal person. That's like you are there to serve them and to feed them and to do whatever they want to make them feel better. And so you lose yourself, and you're constantly trying to appease someone else and walk on eggshells and try to stay out of trouble. And if it's unpredictable, pretty soon you become very defeated and disconnected from yourself, because just for self-preservation, you disconnect from your emotions because it's too painful. And besides, you can't trust what your internal self is saying emotionally, because the environment you're in is contradicting you and telling you that you're wrong and something's wrong with you. And so then you internalize that, and pretty soon you're believing it, and then you become depressed and miserable. So the first thing I did whenever I had enough of it was to start researching and reading books and learning about boundaries and how to take care of yourself and find out how to stand up for yourself, and about emotional abuse. And that helped me tremendously. And when I really got some clarity was when I did The Artist's Way and I began journaling, and I got back in touch with me. And then I began reading other books about spirituality and and emotional eating and healthy emotional boundaries. And so I just began to take care of myself and respect myself and love myself through all these things. And I began exercising and eating better and spending time in nature and solitude by myself. And I was meditating and visualizing without really realizing it. I wasn't trying to be spiritual or anything. I was just trying to heal myself, and whatever came naturally to me instinctively, I followed my intuition, and then everything started opening up for me, and I started to realize that if I took care of myself and treated myself as an equal to everybody else instead of trying to sacrifice myself to please everybody, then that made me feel better. I just began to value myself and respect myself. And I began to see more clearly where I was not being treated respectfully or with kindness, or the way that I treat other people, they were not returning that same respect towards me. And so that's when I started making changes, because I could see then my value and my worth, and I started taking care of myself. So that's in Sweet Relief, Living in Alignment for Peace. I share what I've done to help take my power back, to get to know myself, and to love myself, and then be true to myself and do what's right for me. And I wish that I could have begun this sooner. I wish I knew all of this information whenever I was a teen, like in my young adulthood. That would have helped me so much, because especially in these days where there is so much pressure with social media, and you're bombarded with all this information which may not be healthy for you. For example, you're supposed to be pretty and or attractive or buff or thin and conform, and or else you are not viewed as, you won't get as many likes, or you're not as successful as everybody else. It's like, it makes it a big kind of competition. And the way social media is designed, it hooks you. And so you're drawn in, and it's like you're manipulated, and you become a puppet because of society and social conditioning. Well, I'm here to say that what matters most is you doing what's right for you, you knowing yourself and knowing your boundaries and knowing your self-worth from inside, because it's the inside is what matters. And that's what makes you happy, is how you feel from within. And if you're always gauging yourself based on the external world, on the society, and how you measure up to that, you're never going to be happy, because they're going to move the goalpost. There's going to constantly be manipulation to get you to buy in and spend your money on this or that, and it's like a big business, and that's not going to bring you any happiness. I mean, you might have brief happiness. Yes, it's exciting to have people give you compliments, or for you to buy the latest technology, but that's not really lasting. What's lasting is how you are from within inside yourself, and how you feel about yourself, and the way you spend your day to day in your mind and your heart and your soul, and knowing that you are inherently worthy, you are inherently lovable, and you are equal to everybody else, that no one is better than you, and you deserve the same respect and reverence and the same treatment as everybody else, because these physical bodies are not what we truly are. We're this being within, this person who has all of these beautiful qualities and gifts to share, your talents and what you love to do, and just your quality of life, the way you live. If you're doing what feels the best for you, what's you're most passionate about, what brings you purpose and meaning, then, and what helps you to flow in your life and feel like just engaged and just really getting the juice out of life. Well, that doesn't come from external things. That comes from within, and that comes from knowing yourself and honoring yourself and honoring your true feelings and not being manipulated by, you know, dysfunctional society and people who want to have power and control over you. So that's what I would like to help people to take their power back, because you are powerful. You're the most powerful person in your life, because you get to say what you will participate in and what you won't. And many times we are guilted and shamed and manipulated into doing things that are so unhealthy and detrimental for ourselves. And then we're brainwashed into thinking that's just how it is, that's the way it's been, that's how it's supposed to be. Take, for example, you know, the Me Too. That's how it was, you know, first, that's how it's been. But no, we can take our power back and set boundaries and stand up for ourselves. Now, sometimes it may not be safe, so you have to be careful in the way you go about it, and you have to reach out for support sometimes, because, you know, we do have to help each other. You can't do it all by yourself. I mean, the society promotes independence and individuality, but how can we help, you know, how can we care for each other the way we're supposed to, like one big family, if we are saying, no, I don't need help, it's weak if I admit there's something I need help with. I don't want to be vulnerable. People will talk about me. Who cares what people think? You've got to do what's right for you and reach out and get that help. There's plenty of support everywhere. And just begin to question if this is really loving of you. Is this what you really want? If at the end of your life, what you're doing today, you'll say, oh yeah, I'm so glad I did that. That was wonderful. What is most important to you? You need to find out what's most important for you. When all is said and done, what matters most in your life? Well, for me, it's the way I live from moment to moment. It's not the things I have. It's not how buff I am, or how my makeup looks, or if I wear makeup, or how my hair is, or, you know, I mean, of course, everybody wants to look presentable, and yes, we want to be liked, but the most important thing is to do what's right for you. And I found that the only way I can do what's right for me is to know myself and know what I really want, and not let other people tell me what I should be doing and pressure me. I get to say what I will do. I get to say what I want to eat, how I want to look, how I want to be in the world, and I will do what's right for me. And anybody can criticize me, well, they can, that's fine. But that can't do anything to me unless I buy into it. So yeah, I used to be criticized growing up. I used to be told I was fat. I used to be condemned and told that I wasn't doing what I should be doing, that I wasn't practicing enough my music or studying enough, and that I should wear makeup, and etc., etc., etc. What was valuable was what I could, like how I perform and how I measure up, and that's what, that's all they cared about, was how I could serve them and make them look good. Well, I rebelled against that, and I said, no, I'm gonna do what's right for me. And it took me years. I mean, I fell into the same relationship pattern where another person wants power and control over you, and they're coercive and manipulative, and that's what my first relationship was. And it took me years and years and years to disentangle myself from all of that, and from my unhealthy family of origin. And finally I had to, you know, disengage and go no contact because there was no middle ground. And it was the best thing I ever did. And the same thing, I had to divorce my first relationship, and ever since then things have just gotten better and better and better. And so sometimes you have to do the hard things. I mean, society's going to tell you you need to be loyal, you need to conform and do what your religion says and what other people want you to do, and conform to gender norms, and conform to like how women should be, and etc. But no, you don't. In fact, that will drive you bonkers and will hurt you if you are not being true to yourself. And so that's what I've laid out here and written, and hopefully it will help you. And I just want to help people who are like me when I was younger and were struggling and just so full of anxiety and self-loathing, and then you self-medicate, and you know, then you get eating issues. So many people have eating issues, like because of their body image, and they want to fit in, they want to like be attractive, and all these messages bombarding you. Well, that's just going to be a life of misery. So I would just like to help people disentangle themselves from that and get clarity and figure out what they want and be true to themselves and do what's right for them and stand up for themselves and love themselves so they can have the most beauty, truth, alignment, and purpose and meaning, and doing what really fulfills you, what is loving of you, because you have to include yourself amongst the people you love. You have to put yourself in there and prioritize yourself, and not be the fixer-upper and the caretaker. You have to take care of yourself first and foremost, so you can be there for the world and you can share all the talents and the gifts you have with the world. But you have to take care of yourself first and foremost and do what's right for you, so then you can shine your light and be who you were put on this earth to be. So thank you so much, and I hope this will help somebody. That's what I'd like to do, is just, I wish I would have had help, and I want to help anybody else who may be struggling. So thank you again. Bye.